Okay. Am I properly audible to everyone?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today the topic is components of food. Okay. Now, if supposing we talk about components of food, we are talking about the nutrient value that we are going to consider in each one of them. Okay. Can you just tell me briefly what are the nutrient values we normally talk about? Which are the nutrients we talk when we talk about food?
Carbohydrates, proteins, fats,
Yes, carbohydrates,
vitamins,
proteins,
minerals.
fats, vitamins, minerals, and something else left? Something else left? Very good,
Starch.
Vedika.
No.
No. Starch comes in the carbohydrate itself.
I think that's
Carbo
all.
Carbohydrates, proteins, fats. These three are the main, correct? Then we get the other important factors from vitamins, minerals, and very important for your final digestion of food, fibers. Fibers, yes, fibers. Why? Because if there is no fibers, the food that is not digested by your body will not be easily thrown out of the body. So fibers is also very important. Okay. So can you all tell me from where you get which source? Like carbohydrates you're getting from where? Any one example.
Cereals like wheat,
Okay, wheat you're getting carbohydrates. Proteins,
It could be eggs,
eggs. Okay,
chicken.
lentils,
lentils, pulses, dal, fats.
Like from ice cream and cakes.
Yeah, from McDonald's fries, French fries.
Yeah.
Yes,
oils, and butter.
oils, butters, ghee, and all of those things. Okay. Now, how important do you think you have to keep the consistency in each one of them, and why? See, now you're at a certain age, and you all know the importance of the food that you'll eat. As per your understanding, I want to understand why and what is the quantity of food that you should eat. What is that you know?
Like some of the food groups, if you have too much of them, it can be really unhealthy for your body.
Like, can you explain it with a little bit example?
Like, like if you have too much fat, probably all the like sugars and all, it can you ruin your whole your body because of.
Okay. Okay, very good, Ria. So we're going on the proper track. Okay, so now you come to a point, anything in excess, if you take, is going to destroy or damage your body. Now, how can you define the value of excess?
More than what your body requires.
Okay, more than what your body requires. So, so if supposing there is an athlete, that athlete will require probably more amount of proteins because he's building up muscles. Okay, somebody else who is living a sedentary life, like just just sitting on near the computer, will require to have less amount of fats. So now what is your body doing with that food? What is your body doing with that food? What is it that you're doing with the food?
It's supplying all the vital nutrients in the food
Turning it
to the
into
body.
energy.
Yes, correct. Naomi is correct. Ria, you are partly correct. Naomi is correct. Okay, so vitamins are coming from food, correct? No harm. Okay, you're getting all the vitamins and minerals from food. Besides that, your body is converting this food into energy which can be used. Okay, so now do you know that the carbohydrates has to be converted to what form so that it can be used up? Or the proteins has to be converted to what form so that your body can use it up? Now see, when you're having wheat, for example, or when you're having say paneer, paneer is giving you a lot of proteins. Okay, so when you're having paneer, okay, that paneer is in a certain complex form. It is not in a very simple form. It's a very complex food. So now what will your body do so that you can convert that part of proteins into energy?
It breaks it down.
Yes, it is breaking it down. So what is it doing is that whatever your complex food that you're eating, let it be carbohydrates, let it be fats, or let it be proteins, they all are in a very complex form. I always give this example. It is like your pearl necklace. Okay, it's like a pearl necklace. Imagine the pearl necklace has got jumbled up. So they are in a very complex form. So now your body at different levels of digestion, when the food is going into your body at different levels of digestion, that food has to be converted into simplest form. Your body cannot digest, your body cannot remove energy from that jumbled up pearl necklace. So the first thing it will have to do is it will have to make that jumbled up necklace into a long chain. Now that long chain will have to be broken into smaller pieces, and finally it will come to a point where it will come to just one pearl. Okay, so your body is doing that exact work from the mouth till it goes into your small intestine. That body is converting that food into very simple form of energy, okay, or simple form of food, which then we convert into each and every part of a body cell into energy. That is what we do it in the form of ATP. Okay, is this clear? Yes. So now today, when we talk about components of food, we'll be testing the components of food in probably the simplest form of it. When we come to each part of it, I will explain it to you. Okay. So we'll go to our first slide. Okay. So food is very important. Yes. Without food, we cannot get energy. We cannot get all the nutrients. Like we spoke about carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Okay. Now, in general, we divide the food into three categories. One is the food that will give us instant energy. So, instant energy. What do you have for instant energy? A lot of advertisement comes. Instant energy.
Are they like superfoods?
Sugar.
Sugars, yes, sugars, glucose drinks. Yes, that is nothing but instant energy. Correct? Those form of instant energy are nothing but they are carbohydrates or fats. So whenever you have carbohydrates or fats, the instant energy you will get it from this two forms of nutrients. Okay. Now, if supposing you've had muscle pull, or you've had a twist ankle, or somewhere you have hurt your some muscles or something, okay, or some part of your internal body. So to repair it, for repair work, for building up the body again, or if supposing some bodybuilder wants to build up the body again, okay, so that for that purpose you mainly require proteins. So proteins is what is making your body internally like your muscles. Okay, so that is a body building food. It is for building up and for repair. And besides that, protective food. Nowadays, because of corona, a lot of people say please have a lot of vitamin C, have a lot of lime, so it will improve your immunity, right? So they are the protective food. So all your vitamins and minerals come in the category of protective food. They help you to prevent you from diseases because those specific vitamins and minerals have certain role in activating some other part of your body, probably in activating some antibodies, or probably in activating some reactions in your body which can help to start antibody production, or XYZ. Okay, so these are the protective foods. Okay, this is clear. We'll go to the next one.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so now first today topic we are going to deal with carbohydrates. Okay, so carbohydrates, when I talk in general, you will say carbohydrates we get from wheat, we get from sugars. Okay, so mainly carbohydrates is the sugary part which you're getting from starches, okay, fibers, fruits, grains, vegetables, even milk products also. Okay, and it is the main source of energy. Even in our body, finally we are breaking something down into carbohydrate form only. Okay, and the formula is very complicated, but when you decode the formula of any carbohydrate, you will find only three atoms inside it: the carbon, the hydrogen, and the oxygen. So you'll find only three atoms present inside your carbohydrates. That is why these are called as organic molecules. What are organic molecules? Organic molecules are the molecules which are found in living body, and mainly they contain nothing but chains and chains of carbohydrates. Sorry, chains and chains of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay. Now, if you can see the chart, okay, try to understand the classification of carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are divided into two forms. One is the simplest form and one is the complex form. If you see the simplest form, in that there's another two categories. One is called as mono, okay, and then after that you have got di, and there's something more which is not put into it, but it is called the oligo. It is written on the left side. Okay, so when I talk about carbohydrate simplest form, I'm talking about those pearl beads. Pearl beads, how many times they're getting repeated. So when I say mono, they're getting repeated only one time. Means there is no repetition. It is just a single molecule itself only. Okay. So in that category comes your glucose, which is very important for a body. It is the main energy resource of your body. So glucose, fructose is also a form of glucose. Some formula change here and there, some bonds change here and there. Okay. But you form this fructose in your fruits. So your fruits is rich in fructose. There is gallic.
Ma'am,
Yes.
so for the mono, meaning it only has like one molecule of these three substances in the food, in
No.
carbohydrates.
Mono means, like I explained, that chain of necklace, the
Yeah.
chain necklace. So it just contains one bead. One bead. Consider that
So it's
one
only
bead to
so
be
it's like
one molecule.
so it's
One
one
molecule.
molecule in that
Yes.
carbohydrate food.
Yes.
Okay,
Only
got
one
it,
molecule. Only
got
one
it.
molecule. Okay.
Okay.
If instead of one you have got two, then what is the but obvious name you give to it? If instead of one you've got two, if instead of one you've got two beads,
Di,
then what?
di,
Die, die. Okay, die. If instead of two there are three, what will you call them?
try. Try.
Try. Okay, four,
Okay, I don't know that.
four,
I
four.
Quad.
don't know about that one.
Quad.
Sorry.
Quad.
What? No. Little different word.
Okay. I don't know.
Tetra. Tetra.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Tetra, penta. Five. Penta, hexa, septa, or sometimes hepta, octa, nona, deca. Okay. So this is how the naming goes. Okay. So now these naming will all come in the category of oligosaccharides. So they are falling between the 2 to 10 units. If there is one unit, single one unit molecule, you call it monosaccharide. If there is more than 2 up till number 10 units, there will be oligosaccharide. Okay. If there are more than 10, now imagine a necklace bead more than 10. So now it gets complicated. Now it gets jumbled up. Up to 1, 2, up to 10, they don't really jumble up so much. Up to 10, they don't really get jumbled up, Uh, uh, they get mixed so much. That doesn't happen. But once they go into more than 10 categories, they try to internally uh, uh, adjust themselves such that they become into a small jumbled up molecules. And this is why we are able to do a starch test. So all the ones that come in the complex category are called as starches. The polysaccharide, more than 10 polysaccharide, and so we call them as starches. Starches, fibers, glycogen, and so on. Is this charting clear to you all?
Yeah.
Yes. No, ma'am, I didn't understand.
You didn't understand, Adya? Okay. So see, your carbohydrates is into two parts. Okay. The simple and the complex. Clear? Simple and complex is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When I talk about simple, I'm talking about how many times one particular unit is getting repeated. Okay. So if supposing there is only one unit, I will call it as a monosaccharide. If there is two units, I call it as a disaccharide. If there are three units, I call it as a trisaccharide. Okay. So you've seen the small kids, they play with those blocks. Okay. So what will they do to make a block? First they'll put one block. Then they will want to make a train, they'll put another train ka block next to it. Then they'll put another train ka block next to it. So there is one unit. Then they'll put two units. Then they'll put three units, and so on. So that unit keeps on going up to number 10. So up to 10, whenever any type of molecule, let's say for example glucose. If glucose is repeated up to 10 times, one glucose molecule, two glucose molecule, three glucose molecule, four glucose molecule, up to 10 times, they stay in that simple category of carbohydrates. Once they go more than 10, once they go more than 10, now they will not remain as a simple chain. Now they'll get jumbled up. So they will get all jumbled up. Okay, they'll become like um, round into each other. They'll wind into each other. So now they will become a polysaccharide. So all the ones that come in the polysaccharide, we call them as starch. That is the name for the carbohydrates falling in the polysaccharide. So today the test that we're going to do is only for starch. Okay. So mind you, so when so you will be doing this test with two things. One, you will be doing the test with a complex form of carbohydrate, and one test you'll be doing with the simplest form of carbohydrate. Now tell me, which is the easiest form of simple carbohydrates you find in your kitchen?
Bread?
Bread
Right.
bread is not simple. Bread is complex. Bread is
Oh,
Right.
starch. Rice is also starch.
um,
Banana.
Banana, yes, fructose, correct. Banana is fructose, but it also depends how well the banana is. Is the banana raw or is the banana ripe? Because
Potato.
Okay.
the more the banana is raw, it is more in the fructose form. As it keeps on ripening, it gets converted into the starch form. There's one very important component you all are forgetting. We spoke
Potato.
about
potato
potato
has
again
starch.
starch,
How
again
about
starch.
sugar?
Yes, very good. Sugars. So sugar is a disaccharide. So will it show your positive test or will it show a negative test for your starches? Will it show a positive starch test or will it show a negative starch test?
Negative.
Negative.
It should ideally show a negative starch test. Okay. Okay.
Uh,
So
Ma'am,
yes,
for the experiment, I just have potato, bread, and basin.
no problem. You can observe when ma'am is doing it. Okay. You can do
Okay.
whatever you have. The rest, ma'am will be doing it and you can see
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Okay. So
Oh
see,
my God.
this is how the mono, di, and the poly are. Poly means the starch. Okay. So the monos are like one component. Okay. Here it is given in a ring form. You will not see it in the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen form. You won't see it in that form. Okay. So when two join together, then they become di. When three join together, they become tri, and so on. see, you can see glucose is 1, fructose is 1, galactose is 1. Okay. When glucose and fructose join together, they become Mr. and Mrs. What is it written?
Sucrose.
Yes. So, yes. So sugar is a disaccharide. Okay. Then your maltose. Maltose is what mainly comes in the alcoholic drinks. That is made up of two glucose. Sorry, no, not many. Two glucose molecules. Okay. And your lactose. That is your milk. The milk. You know, a lot of people are lactose intolerant.
Yes.
Yeah. So that lactose is nothing but a form of carbohydrate. And that contains 2 units. 1 unit of galactose and 1 unit of glucose joined together. Okay. And if you have more than one, if you have got, if you've got uh, 10, 20, 100, so many units, then they become starch category. That is on the right side. You just keep on joining hands together. Yes? Understood now?
Yeah.
Adya?
Yes.
Adya, understood?
Yes.
Okay. Next slide. So we have our experiment time. So we'll have Nicola ma'am doing the experiment now. Okay? Nicola ma'am will show you the starch test. The starch test. See, mind you, it is not carbohydrate test. It is a starch test. Okay? It is called as a starch test. You'll be doing it with Nicola ma'am and do it along with her only. Okay? And she'll explain you the details. Sorry, she'll explain you the details.
Ma'am,
Yes, tell me.
can you give me 2 minutes to join from another device?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
So today we'll be performing the starch test. Okay, for that we need all the items you can take, and you can put 2 drops of iodine to test it. If the food sample turns blue-black in color, that means starch is present in the food sample. And if it does not change its color, then that food sample does not contain starch. Okay? So whatever food sample you are having along with you, you try it with 2 drops of iodine. You put 2 drops of iodine in the food sample. Okay? See if it changes color to blue-black. And if it changes color to blue-black, it contains starch. If it does not change color to blue-black, that means it does not contain starch. Okay, I'll show you. You all can also do it along with me. So this is iodine solution. I have taken potato and I have taken groundnut powder. Okay. So you can try it with all the food items that you have. Okay. So I'll tell me what is the color of the iodine? Can anyone see?
It's red. Dark brown.
Yeah, brown. Brownish, yeah. Little brown and yellow. What is the combination of both these colors? Yellowish brown. Okay. So that is the color. All right. Now you will put it in all the food samples. I put it on the potato.
Ma'am, I don't
Okay.
have a dropper.
You don't have a dropper?
No.
Use a toothpick or use a earbud.
Okay, ma'am.
And you can put it in the groundnut powder.
The potato's turning blue.
Yeah. So that means what is proved? If the potato is turning bluish black, then what is it? What does it prove?
Starch is present.
Yes.
Nitya,
all
can
of
you
you
have your
please,
videos on so we can see what you have done?
all of you can have your videos on. So tell me the food items that have changed color. Okay.
Ma'am, are there any other food items like I can, like any vegetables that I can take for the experiment? Like, can I
Yeah.
take, like, what other vegetables?
Whatever
Can,
you have,
Ria, we just
Priya,
spoke. You can try with sugars. You can try with milk also, because milk
okay,
contains lactose. So this you can try it out after the class gets over, okay? And then send us a picture so we know what you have done.
okay. Thank you.
Vedika, Adya, and Naomi, please turn your cameras on.
after putting iodine, tell me the samples that have changed color.
The potato turned black, bluish black for me.
Okay, so that means the potato contains starch. Is it has that happened for all of you? Has the
So I will not.
turned
I'll do the experiment after class because I was not able to get iodine. So I'll do the experiment after class is over when I get iodine, and I'll post it on the group.
yeah.
Ma'am, the groundnut powder turned black.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of the
Any more
flowers
samples?
black.
Which one? Which food sample?
The basin.
Has it
Yeah, mine.
has it turned black?
Yeah, mine turned black too.
The
Potato will
turned black.
yeah.
Can
Bread contains
someone
starch.
Can
Okay,
someone
so
try
bread
with sugars if you have got? Can you quickly get sugar and try it?
I got on my fingers.
Ma'am, I'll go get sugar.
Okay, if you've got iodine on your fingers, don't worry, the color will not go until next week. Okay? So don't worry, okay?
Oh my god. You should have told it to me earlier.
It's a good experience, right? You will remember the starch test.
Ma'am, should I cut the potato and then drop the iodine?
Yes, please.
you have to cut it. You have to cut the potato and then drop the iodine.
Ma'am, is the coconut supposed to turn blue, like brown? So drop it in this?
You can test it. Okay, test it and tell me what is the color, if there's any color change.
It's brown.
Brown. That means it has not changed color. Okay, the color of the iodine is yellowish brown. So that means that it has not changed color.
The sugar isn't changing color. It's just the sugar turned yellowish.
This is a weird color.
I'm gonna try with
Yeah.
basin.
It's brownish black.
Okay. So it will change color slowly. Okay. Jia, it will change color slowly.
So y'all can write in your observation columns. Or see, so many people tried it with so many things, right? So many people tried it with sugars negative. coconut powder came negative. Then somebody can try with milk also. Very little bit amount of milk. Just take, like 3-4 drops of milk and try it in that. So that will
Ma'am,
you'll
should
come
I
to.
do it with banana too?
Yeah, you can try it with
Yeah,
banana.
banana.
The basin turned black.
Yeah. Yes. So it contains carbohydrates. Starch. Not now. Next time you don't use the word carbohydrates. Even I was wrong. Use the word starch, because carbohydrate is two forms. Okay, the simple and the complex. So yes, with iodine you get tested only for starch.
Ma'am, the basin turned black.
Okay, that means it has starch in it. All right. So if a food sample changes its color to blue black, that means the food sample contains starch. And if it does not change color, it does not contain starch. Is that clear to all of you? Is the
Yes.
starch test clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So y'all can do one thing. Y'all, the food samples that y'all have tried it with, y'all can record it. Okay, which has shown positive starch test and which has shown negative starch test. All right. Okay.
Okay. So this is a very important slide. Are you all again looking at the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So on the left side, you can see how the iodine solution is. Like you all must have also seen it in your house when you tested it. It is yellowish brownish color. Okay. The minute you put it on something containing starch, it will turn color into blue black. Why is it so? Why? The reason being because on the right side you can see, can you see the complex white and red color mesh kind of a structure, the netted mesh kind of a structure? That is what is the structure is of your polysaccharides, of all your starch. All your starch will form, like I told you, they get jumbled up. They get totally jumbled. Now, in the jumbling up process, they have little bit pockets. They've got some empty space where the iodine molecules can go and sit inside. So the purple ones that you can see are iodine molecules. Now what happens the minute the iodine molecule goes and sits in that place, the color of that will change. So that is why it gives a blue black color. And this is the reason why your monosaccharides, your disaccharides up to number 10 will not show. Why? Because they are still long chains. They are not jumbled up together. Had they been jumbled up, they would have also shown the blue-black positive test. But because they are still simple chains, you cannot get a positive test with them. And that is why your sugars, your milk, uh, co coconut itself doesn't have only any form of carbohydrates, but some other simple form, fructose, probably some fruit like an apple you can try. You can try it with some citrus fruit like pup, oranges, sweet lime. See, all those are sweet, right? You feel the sweetness of it. So whenever they are sweet, they are coming in the category of the carbohydrates, but they are in the simple category. So they are mainly containing fructose. So they will not contain the they will not give you the positive starch iodine test. Okay? Yes, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll go to our next food.
Yes.
We'll go to our next food. See, this is how y'all can make. Y'all can keep on adding things to this. Okay. Like you can add sugar, you can add something else, whatever you're trying at home. You can try it and let us know. Nobody gave me the last time's extra experiment. I told you I'll try the viscosity at different angles. Nobody tried that.
Ma'am, I couldn't do that experiment last time.
Okay, fine. No problem. Okay. Okay. So we'll go to our next food, that is the proteins. Okay. So now proteins is again a very large molecule. It is a very complex molecule, and it is required for many critical functions in our body. I told you the main important function is, it forms the structure of the body. Any type of regulation in a body through the hormones, enzymes, all those are nothing but they are forms of proteins. So all the molecules that are doing major work in our body are formed out of proteins. Okay. Now these proteins, like how we had carbohydrates attached one. So one unit was called a glucose. It could be called a fructose also. In proteins, the one unit out of that simple thing, the one bead is called as an amino acid. There are approximately 20 amino acids. 20 amino acids are known to us. Okay. These 20 amino acids makes the millions and millions of combinations of proteins that we have all around the world today. Okay. Now, depending on the structure wise, the proteins are classified into primary proteins, secondary proteins, tertiary proteins, and quaternary proteins. When I mean by simple proteins, so they are just, like a bead. They're just simple bead. Can you see the picture? The primary structure written? Simple beads are there. The first one. Simple beads. Okay, so they are called as a primary structure. Now, when this bead structure becomes into a helix, have you seen a circular staircase?
Isn't that isn't the shape of our DNA a double
Yes,
helix?
yes, like the DNA shape, right? Or they could become like a pleated structure, uh, like a stairs, normal stairs, going up down, that way. So when they get little bit folded, so this is called as little bit folding, is there? Not too much. So little bit of coiling or little bit of zigzag structure comes into that structure. Then you call it as a secondary proteins. Okay. When do they become tertiary? When they get a 3D shape mostly. So those two things, those helices are getting more and more coiled up, more and more coiled up. And the more and more coiling up takes place, they become a tertiary structure. And in that tertiary structure, if they get more coiled up, means two or three structures coiling of those, uh, two of those tertiary structures coming together, or four of those structures coming together, then they become a quaternary structure. Okay, so this is how they are: primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. Clear? The structure wise, it is clear. Proteins.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so this is exactly how it is. Can you see the primary structure? Simple bonds, right? Simple bonds. Okay. Now the secondary structure down, see how they have got coiled up, or probably they've got into a zigzag structure. Okay. Now that particular coiled or zigzag is now getting intercoiled into each other. Intercoiling is taking place. See, now you will tell me, ma'am, how does this remain? How does these structures remain? Why do they don't become open structures again? Because there are certain bonding that takes place, and that is what is written out there. Can you see here, on the left side also it's written hydrogen bonding takes place. On the tertiary structures, it's written sulfide bonding takes place. So these particular bonding keeps that structure intact. Okay. Now the fourth one is a quaternary structure. So like these tertiary structures, not one, not two, four of such structures have come together. Can you see two orange, the colors they've shown just for us to understand that two two orange structures have come and two green structures have come together. Means two orange tertiary structures, two green tertiary structures have come together, and that is why they become a quaternary structure. Okay.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, tell me.
In that structure, there are these blue sort of strips. What are those?
There are some particular molecules, some particular atoms or some particular atoms which may be there to keep it binding together. For example, I'll tell you one quaternary structure that we know is hemoglobin in a body. The hemoglobin in a body is a quaternary structure of, it is a protein, it is a quaternary structure, and in between that the iron atom is there. The iron atom sits in between, which helps to bind to your oxygen molecule, and that is what takes the oxygen in your entire blood. Okay, so
Okay.
these blue strips, maybe they are just depicting some or the other atom out there, some active atom out there. Okay. Okay, next slide. Okay, before that, there's something that Swapna, can we go to the observation slide? I'll first do the observation, then they can see the. Okay, so very important to understand. Like I told you all, the carbohydrate contains which atoms? Which three atoms a carbohydrate contains?
Uh, Hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and oxygen.
Yes, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Three atoms. In the proteins, there is something more than that. There is carbon, there is hydrogen, there is oxygen. Besides that, there is also nitrogen. Nitrogen is a very important component in your proteins. Okay. And can you see the nitrogen, the four nitrogens on the complex structure where it's written violet? Okay. So this is your structure of proteins on the left side, where it is written proteins. This is how it is: the carbon, the hydrogen, and the nitrogen. Okay, the carbon, the hydrogen, and the nitrogen. So such protein molecules, such many quaternary structures are coming together. So what is happening? On the right side, you can see that there are four quaternary structures. Each one is binding to the reactant what we are going to do the protein test by. It is binding to the copper. The copper is the main atom that is going to show us our protein test. So what is happening is the nitrogen from four different quaternary structures of your proteins are binding. Can you see the dotted lines? The dotted lines means it is a temporary binding, a temporary chemical bond is formed. So that temporary chemical bond that is formed is joining with the copper that we are going to add into the solution, and the color change is going to happen. That is why you get a positive test for proteins. Is this clear, or you want me to explain this again?
Ma'am, I just have one question. The
Yes.
in this step 1 and step 2, why are they telling like to dilute the copper sulfate
Okay,
solution?
don't go to the stepwise right now. Stepwise,
Okay.
Nicola ma'am will explain you the details. I'm explaining you the chemistry behind it.
Okay.
Okay. In your proteins, there is which atom which is very important for us in the test? Which atom is very important?
Nitrogen?
Ma'am, the at the center of that diagram, there's Cu.
No, Cu is what you're going to add into the process.
Okay.
Okay, so Cu is coming in the process. Okay, what is the active component from your protein? See the protein structure. See the protein formula.
Is
CH.
it nitrogen?
Yes, it is nitrogen. Okay. Now, was nitrogen present in your carbohydrates?
No.
There is
No.
no nitrogen in carbohydrates.
Yes. So any of your compound that is made up of only carbohydrates, for example, sugars. Okay, sugar is only carbohydrates. Your sugar will not show you a positive protein test. It will show you a negative protein test. Why? Because it doesn't have nitrogen. So the component that works in your proteins is nitrogen. So nitrogen from 4 different proteins are coming and temporarily bonding with the copper that you're going to add into your reaction mixture. So your copper sulfate, if you've anytime seen copper sulfate in the lab or whenever we've done any test, is blue in color. That copper sulfate will turn into purple color. Just exactly like how your iodine was yellow brown and what color it changed into blue black, because those iodine molecules went and sat inside the starch structure. Same way, the proteins will turn the copper sulfate solution blue into purple, into a violet color. Okay, is this clear or no?
Yes.
What
Yes.
are ions?
We'll do one thing. We'll do the test again. I'm sorry. We'll see what Nicola ma'am is doing the test. This test you could not do because of the 2 components that you cannot get. So you'll have to clearly see what Nicola ma'am is doing. Okay. Then again, I'll come back to this slide and I'll explain you this once again. Okay. Clear?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So I have taken gram flour, okay, basin. I've taken sodium hydroxide solution. What is the color? Tell me.
It's from the camera. It's clear.
It's clear.
It's white.
Okay, it's transparent. Okay, we can say it is colorless. Okay, this is copper sulfate solution. Can you all see it?
Yeah.
What is the color?
Blue.
Blue.
Okay, so basically I need a food sample and these 2 components. Okay, I need a food sample and these 2 solutions, that is sodium hydroxide solution and copper sulfate solution. Okay, so I'll test it with gram flour. Now what I have to do, I have to take a little bit of gram flour. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll take a little bit of gram flour. Okay. And I'll add a little water. I'll make it into a solution.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what is the solution now? Tell me. What have I added?
You've added water to the gram
Gram flour and water.
Water.
So that's a gram flour solution. Okay. All right. Now, one second. Now, I'll be adding 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution, the colorless one. Okay, I'll be adding how many drops? 10 drops. Okay, fine. Now, I'll be adding 2 drops of copper sulfate solution. This is the blue one. That is copper sulfate solution.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Are you adding both of the solutions to the solution
Gram
to the gram flour? on the.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I have added 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution to the gram flour solution. Now I'm adding 2 drops of copper sulfate solution to it. Okay. Now I'll mix it. Can you see the color change?
My God.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's turning black, no?
No, it's purple.
Just violet.
It's a purple violet color.
It's violet. Okay, purple or violet. Wait, one. You have to shake it well so that you can prominently see the change in the color. Can you see it?
Oh, why is a portion of the solution violet?
Because it has not completely dissolved. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. If it completely dissolves, if you shake it well, then after that the entire thing will become white.
You're not. Oh, I have a class.
You have to shake it well, and the entire portion will become violet. You can add a little bit in order to make sure everything turns violet. Okay, so this is turning violet. That means what is present here? What is present in the gram flour?
Protein?
Proteins, yes. Now we'll test it with, I have taken starch solution. I have taken the juice of the potato. So what it should contain? What does potato contain?
Starch.
Starch. Okay, so we'll try it. Okay, so I have taken starch solution. That means the juice of the potato I have taken. Now, how many drops of sodium hydroxide should I add to it?
10.
10. Very good. So I'll be adding 10 drops of sodium hydroxide solution.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how many drops of copper sulfate solution should I be adding?
2.
2. Okay.
2 drops.
Yeah. What's the color?
Ma'am, it's a different from the other one. It's dark blue.
Yeah,
Dark
it's
blue.
blue. And what is blue? This one. It has taken copper sulfate. It is the color of copper sulfate. Okay. It has not changed its color to violet. Has it changed its color to violet?
No.
No. It has not changed. So what does that prove?
A darker blue, no? It's changed to
Yeah.
a darker blue.
So it doesn't have any protein?
It does not have proteins. Okay. But it has not changed to violet. Okay. So it does not contain protein. That means the gram flour contains protein, and the potato solution, or we can say the juice of the potato, it does not contain protein.
Okay.
Have you all understood?
Yes, understood.
Yes.
It has taken the color of copper sulfate. Okay, it has not changed to violet color or purple color, we can say. So that shows that gram flour contains protein, and the potato, or the we can say starch solution, the potato juice, does not contain proteins. Clear?
Clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we come back to this slide, and I'm very sure now you must have understood that your proteins contains nitrogen. That nitrogen on the left side, you can see nitrogen in the protein is only one molecule. Okay, so it is just one quaternary structure of it. From that one quaternary structure, now we're getting four quaternary structures. One on the right side, you can see one quaternary structure with that N and double arrows. Then below that, you can see one more N and double arrows. Then on the right side, again, you can see N and double arrows, and below that, again, N and double arrows. So there are four such quaternary structures, or probably tertiary structures of the proteins that are coming. It is binding to the copper. So the minute it binds to the copper, the color of copper will change to violet. Ma'am showed you the gram flour, means she showed you the dal powder. The dal powder is rich in proteins, so that is why it will contain nitrogen, and that will bind to your copper, and that is why your copper from blue color will turn to purple. Okay, if your starch solution, pure starch solution, means nothing is there in it, only there is only and only carbohydrates, then it will not turn into violet because it doesn't have nitrogen to bind to the copper. So this is why you get this test. Is this now part clear? The proteins test is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we'll
Yes,
go to the next. Yes, now we'll go to the next component. So your potato, you can put in, the potato will not contain proteins. The groundnut may contain protein. The rice will not contain protein because it is pure starch. The dry coconut is also negative. The the gram flour will contain protein. A lot of times there could be like the gram flour showed positive for starch also, and it showed positive for protein also. So it is a mixture of food. It is not compulsory that one food has only one nutrient. No, one food can have more than one, or it could have only one nutrient also. Okay, so it depends on different food items. Next. Now we go to the fats. Okay, fats, as we discussed, is instant energy like your carbohydrates. Okay, so now your fat molecule, like your carbohydrate, contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Three three structures again, three atoms again. Okay. Now fats are mainly divided into two categories. One is saturated and one is unsaturated fat. When I mean saturated, the bonding is single bonding. Means the carbon attached to carbon singly. Okay. When I call them as unsaturated, there comes a double bonding into it. Okay. And your saturated fats are mainly all they are solid at room temperature. Okay, for example, your ghee and everything, that will be a saturated fat. Your unsaturated fats will be mainly liquid, like your oil. Okay, so normally we associate fats into like HDL, that is called as good cholesterol. Whenever we do a cholesterol test for a body, you can see the test results for your parents if they have done any time. It will come as HDL and LDL. HDL means how much of good fat you have in your body, and how much of bad fats you have in your body will be your LDL. Okay, so there is something that is called as trans fat that helps to raise the bad protein and lower the good protein. So that is a very bad kind of it. Okay, your unsaturated fat will raise your good proteins, good cholesterol, and lower down your bad cholesterol. Okay, so that is good. Is this fact clear with you all?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay,
Ma'am,
we'll go to the
what's the
yes.
full form of HDL and LDL?
Um, I've forgotten. I'll find out and let you know. I knew
Okay.
it. I've forgotten something. It is related to high density something. I've forgotten. I'll let you know. Okay.
Okay.
Next slide. Okay. So fat molecules are basically they are made up of two main components. One is called as glycerols. You can see the structure glycerols, and one is the fatty acids. So when these two structures combine, they become a complex triglyceride. Okay, and these triglycerides, if there is one structure
Ma'am, your voice is
breaking, is it better now? Is
yes,
it better now?
yes.
Okay, so your fats are made up of two main structures. One is glycerol and fatty acids. Okay, so in your body, when the fats goes and it gets digested, they get converted into two forms. One is the glycerols and one is the fatty acids. And they form something that is called as triglycerides. You can see on the right side, you can see the structure, how the triglycerides are. Okay, many of such triglycerides, they become into lipid molecules. So fats, we can associate it with also the words as lipid. You can also call the word as lipid. Okay, so what test we are going to do now? Can we go to the next slide? The test that we're going to do today is for the lipids test. Okay, for that it is very simple. The fat molecules are heavy. Okay, so the minute fat gets in touch with any tissuey surface, it will form a mark on it. Okay, and it will remain there. If supposing I had a wet tissue from water, what will happen to it if I leave it after some time, like say 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What will happen to that wet tissue?
It'll dry.
Why does it dry up?
It's if you leave it outside, all of the air and the warm air and the cool air
The
will dry it up.
water evaporates.
The water
Yeah.
evaporates. Okay, because water is volatile. Volatile means it can go up. It can go up into the atmosphere. It is volatile. Unlike that, the oily stains, whichever comes, will not get up into the air. So this is why we do the test for fats. Okay. So I'll hand it over to Nicola ma'am again. Okay. Nicola ma'am will be doing the experiment and we'll come back.
Yeah. So you can take a tissue paper, all of you. You can do it along with me. Okay. Take a tissue paper. All of you are having tissue papers.
Ma'am, I'll just go get it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can take a tissue paper. I've taken some groundnut powder. Okay. Yeah. So what you have to do, you can rub the groundnut powder on the tissue. Okay. All of you can do it along with me.
Ma'am, I don't have groundnut powder.
Okay. Then you can observe. Those who don't have it can observe. Those who have it, you all can do it along with me. So you rub the groundnut powder on.
Can we use
Yeah.
basin?
See, if I also have kept basin. You can use it on another side, but groundnut powder is a must for this for the fat test. Otherwise, you can use coconut. If you all have coconut, that's also fine. See, I'm using groundnut powder on one end. On the other end, I'm using, what is this? Sorry, I'm using basin on one end. On the other end, what am I using? What is this?
Is it groundnut powder?
Yeah, groundnut powder. Okay. You can rub the groundnut powder and then observe what happens. Where you have rubbed the groundnut powder, you can see some oily mark, some oily stain. Is that visible to everyone?
Ma'am, I don't have groundnut powder, but how do we use coconut?
you can take a little bit of coconut and rub it there.
Coconut
wet
powder.
dish.
Coconut powder.
Yeah,
Okay.
coconut powder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please keep your cameras on.
I don't have that.
All of you all do it and see there's an oily stain here. Whereas there's no stain in case of besan, in case of the gram flour. Okay. So there's an oily stain here. That means that it contains fats. All of you all do it and observe and see what happens. A translucent spot is formed here in case of fats. Okay. So any food sample containing fats will leave a translucent spot on the paper. Whereas a food sample that does not contain fat will not leave a translucent spot. You can try it with any vegetable or water. What happens then? The water will get evaporated after some time, but that is not the case in case of this translucent spot. It will not get evaporated. Okay. So this is how we can show that a food sample contains fat or not. All of you do it and show me, and you all can tell me what happens.
I didn't get it.
What you didn't get?
Oh, like how the experiment works. I can't do the experiment, but I didn't get how the experiment works.
See, first of all, you take a tissue paper, okay, and you can on one end of the paper you can rub a little bit of groundnut powder. If groundnut powder is not available, you can rub a little bit of coconut powder. Okay.
On a wet tissue or on a dry tissue?
No, not on a wet tissue, on a dry tissue.
Okay.
Okay. And after that, you'll observe that there's a translucent spot, an oily spot on that portion of the tissue paper.
Okay.
If you keep it for 5 to 10 minutes or 1 hour, that spot is not going to evaporate from that point. Okay.
So that means
it contains what? What does it contain?
what does the fat?
What does that? It has fats. The food sample contains fats. Yeah. On the other hand, if you try it with any kind of vegetable or any like I have tried it with gram flour. Okay. You put gram flour in a little bit of water and you try it. No translucent spot is going to be formed. There'll be a watermark. After some time, that's going to get evaporated out. So that means the gram flour does not contain fat. If it contains fat, it leaves a translucent spot. And if it does not contain fat, it does not leave a translucent spot or an oily spot. Is that clear with everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so we finished this test. You can try it out at your house. You can try it. You can simply just take cooking oil and put it on a tissue and put water on the other end and see what happens. You will see that after some time the water will evaporate, but the cooking oil stain will remain as it is on the tissue paper. You can do simply that also if you don't have any of the other supplies. Okay, so this shows that fats are non-volatile and they can be detected using a tissue paper. Very easy test. Okay. Any questions, students, related to today's session?
No.
I think so.
Nothing clear? Completely clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So y'all can try. Y'all have got iodine. Y'all can try iodine with some other carbohydrates in the house, some simple and some starches also, and let us know and show us the pictures. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. See you next week. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you. I love today's class.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.